makes you miss the days before social media, huh? Hey everybody, welcome to Mainely Movies. As part of my coverage of the 2025 Sundance Film Festival, today I'm going to be talking about the 2025 psychological drama thriller, Lurker, which will be released in theaters on August 22nd. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for a variety of movie-related content, like reviews, rank lists, and recommendations. All my reviews include a breakdown of the pros and cons, my rating, and even some tailored film recommendations, so be sure to watch through to the end of this video for all of that extra content. Lurker stars Théodore Pellerin, Archie Madekwe, and Zach Fox, and was the directorial debut by Alex Russell. It tells the story of a retail worker who worms his way into the inner circle of his favorite singer and up-and-coming pop star. Ever since two people appeared together on film, movies have been used to tell the story of relationships, to show interactions between people and convey emotion. Love stories have been central to cinema since the very beginning of the medium, focusing on a strong connection between two people and a mutual desire to be together. But what happens when those feelings aren't reciprocated? What happens when the love becomes, or always was, one-sided? Sad stories of heartache and longing dot the landscape of the romance genre, but what if this story was transposed to a genre with a darker edge? When that lopsided story takes on a creepy or more sinister tone, we recognize the shift from love to obsession. A romance suddenly becomes a thriller, or maybe even a horror film. We've seen these stories told in film before, of course, but what if we add further specificity and incorporate fandom or celebrity into the story? These types of stories have been part of the cinematic fabric for decades as well, but the hyperconnectivity and information-sharing aspects of the modern era lends itself to something especially creepy: the prevalence and borderline normalization of parasocial relationships. The bizarre perception of feeling like you not only know, but have some sort of social relationship with a celebrity, media personality, or really anybody who just isn't even aware of your existence. So what happens when obsession causes the line between parasocialism and reality to blur? You get a story like Lurker. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, though. After all, somebody doesn't just wake up one day and suddenly become a life-infiltrating stalker. It's a process that takes time. A process that starts out innocently enough, with a fan. And that's where Lurker begins, with a fan. Matthew initially appears to be just like anyone else. Everybody has their favorite artists that they follow on social media, so his constant Instagram scrolling and encyclopedic knowledge of Oliver doesn't ring too many alarm bells. That kind of behavior has become a reinforced and all but normalized part of celebrity and fandom in the age of social media, after all. However, after a chance encounter with the rising star, and a seemingly innocent, face-saving white lie lands him backstage for a concert, Matthew's true darker colors begin to show through the cracks of his facade of normalcy. What would be an amazing opportunity for any other person becomes an unsettlingly dark plot for Matthew, as he progressively worms his way into Oliver's inner circle in order to be as close to the star as possible. And once he's there, it quickly becomes apparent that he's willing to do just about anything to stay there. The well-paced progression of this infiltration helps to counteract some scattershot story moments and jumps in logic. And of course, two strong performances by Théodore Pellerin and Archie Madekwe, along with the now all-too-believable obsession story, help to make this an incredibly compelling tale. What else makes this movie so compelling? The near suffocating amount of tension. As with the story's excitement, this tension gradually builds up over time. There are hints of Matthew's creepiness that pop up early in the story, the ease with which he can lie, how awkward and out of place he initially is among Oliver's entourage. The discomfort of the film actually begins as secondhand embarrassment for Matthew, and this movie effectively makes you sympathize, or at least empathize with him, as Oliver and the crew so clearly take advantage of him. But then the tables start to turn, and we feel the gradual build of tension as we witness Matthew's infiltration unfold, and see the true depths of his obsession, his change in personality, his immense jealousy, his growing attachment to Oliver. By the time things take a turn for the sinister, it's almost unbearably uncomfortable to watch. Lurker's got an unpredictable story that keeps you on your toes, but perhaps most unsettlingly, causes you to shift your sympathies and who you're rooting for multiple times throughout the runtime. This film's tension and the intense discomfort it instills could have easily made for an unpleasant viewing experience, but thankfully, there's a good deal of situational humor throughout the story. Much of this is dark comedy, of course, but the occasional levity helps to slightly break the tension when it's on the verge of becoming overwhelmingly uncomfortable. At its core, Lurker is a hollow story about hollow people, but part of the magic of that very intentional hollowness is that, perhaps counterintuitively, this is actually a thematically dense film that touches on a number of different ideas, but largely leaves it up to the audience to interpret their precise meaning in the context of the story. Obviously, this is a film about obsession, and a would-be parasocial stalker lying, manipulating, and awkwardly charming his way into the inner circle of his favorite singer. But it's a film that asks the question, what's the difference between love and obsession? Between obsession and fandom? And the answers it provides aren't as clear-cut as you'd probably think, which makes for an infinitely more interesting story. Beyond obsession, this is a tale of control and shifting power dynamics. It explores what gives people power, real or perceived, over others, and how much of that power is willingly given rather than taken. Lurker offers a look into a toxic relationship, fed by personal insecurities, ego, and fame, and how something that seems to be one-sided can become two-sided in the most disturbing of ways. This is a character study as much as it is a social and cultural critique, digging into the complexities of the modern parasocial relationship while still delivering an entertaining and unsettling thriller story. Alright, let's talk about the pros and cons. Pro number one is the tension. Although a tale of fandom and celebrity worship may not initially seem like it would have much tension, it doesn't take long for the story to pull you in, or to make you deeply uncomfortable. The tension gradually builds throughout the story as more is revealed about our obsessed protagonist and the unsettling lengths he's willing to go to infiltrate and stay within the inner circle of his favorite singer. It's a creepy story with a thick atmosphere of discomfort surrounding it, but the energetic unpredictability plus a bit of levity ensure that it still remains entertaining in spite of the heavy tension. The second pro has gotta be the themes. This is the kind of movie that touches on a lot of different themes without really settling on one side or the other of any of them. So it's less a message movie and more an observational examination of parasocial obsession and how it differs from love or even regular healthy fandom. In addition to obsession, this film examines shifting power dynamics and toxic relationships that are fed by personal insecurities and ego or fame-caused identity crises. On the con side, the biggest issue is the scattershot story. I do want to be clear though, only parts of the story feel like this. Things start off a bit slow, but the story's path is initially clear and logical. And while the film's creepy tension helps to keep the plot feeling well-paced, there are some strange jumps and inexplicable shifts in logic that disturb the flow. This is especially the case as the film moves into the third act. I have no doubt that some of this may have been intentional, as a way to structurally emulate the fleeting whirlwind nature of celebrity, but it makes for some noticeable weak points in the script and story. Before I give you my rating and recommendations, I want to remind you that if you're interested in buying Lurker or any of the other films I mentioned today, I do have affiliate links for all of them in the description below. I get a small commission from anything you buy using one of my links, so I'd really appreciate it if you use them if you're in the market for any of these movies or anything else. I'm gonna give Lurker 4 out of 5 paws. It's a compelling tale of obsession, shifting power dynamics, and toxic relationships that works its way under your skin in an uncomfortable yet highly entertaining way. Energetic and unpredictable, this one's a tense blast. I would recommend Lurker to anybody interested in a tonally unique psychological drama thriller. It starts out innocently enough, but becomes creepy and deeply uncomfortable over the course of its runtime. That might not sound like a particularly enjoyable experience, but the energy and moments of situational humor strewn throughout the story add a surprising amount of levity to this otherwise unsettling Gen Z take on obsession, power, and control. If you liked Lurker, I would recommend Ingrid Goes West. Another story of parasocial celebrity stalking escalating out of control. This creepy yet darkly funny film stars Aubrey Plaza as a woman who becomes obsessed with an Instagram influencer and moves across the country to lie her way into her inner circle. If you'd like a tale of celebrity obsession from before the age of social media, you should watch Misery. Kathy Bates won an Oscar for her role as a superfan who inserts herself into the life of her favorite author under false pretenses, resulting in a tense and disturbing story of captivity and survival. And if you like another more recent uncomfortable film, which just so happens to also feature Archie Madekwe, you might want to check out Saltburn. This dark comedy thriller is another disturbing story about power dynamics, obsession, and manipulation, this time between two students at Oxford. Alright, a couple questions for you guys. Number 1, have you seen Lurker? If so, what'd you think of it? And number 2, what's your favorite movie about a parasocial relationship? Be sure to leave your answers in the comments below so we can get a discussion going. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insight, or information on this review, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe if you're at it to see more videos like this. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainely Movies, the way life should be.